So my new head unit for the Silver Mercedes, that is part of my mild stereo upgrade, did in fact arrive from Germany much sooner than they had said it would. So actually arrived ahead of a couple of the cables that I need to install it, which are supposed to be getting here today. So I figured to go ahead and do a little why I chose this unit. So I wouldn't have to worry about it when I'm actually installing the thing tomorrow. I'll go ahead and flash a little bullet list of what I wanted from the head unit now. And basically anything on that list, or anything that isn't on that list, you can assume are things that I don't care about. Satellite radio being one of those things. I looked, and I've been thinking about this for a couple of months, and been through so many options I've been looking at, and finally had it baked down. So, okay, so as far as the usual suspects for somebody that wants to maintain the look of the interior of a car like the 420 SEL, obviously there's a couple of decent brands. There's Retrosound, which I was looking at. But the main thing I kept coming back to is I didn't think they looked great. They look okay. I mean, I think it's kind of neat that they replicate the look of the Beckers. I don't think it was absolutely necessary to replicate the volume control, which is not necessarily, it's not like I hate it when I'm using the Beckers, but it's not the most efficient way to control volumes. Knobs are better, I think. But there just seemed to be enough negative reviews that I didn't want to pull the trigger on that. And so that didn't totally cross it off the list, but it moved it down the list. The Continental is one that people like, and I think it's you know, it's a nice looking deck. But I've never seen one in person, and I can't see one in person. I don't know any place that sells it where you can just walk into a store and look at it. And just in the pictures, I didn't really think, it just didn't knock me out. So then I moved on to more modern-ish single-din units, ones that weren't super flashy, and there are a couple of them that I do like. There's an Alpine unit. I'll show that now. And you know, I saw that in person. I went out to the Crutchfield store, and it looks really good on display. And it has the blue buttons, and I'm old enough that there's, you know, the old kind of blue button Alpine retro feel. I don't know if you'd call it retro or not, this big unit, but whatever. It just, I like the look of it. There was also, I think, a Jensen, or I'll flash a picture of that now. But, and I thought that one had a nice clean look to it, and that little LCD, while, you know, worthless for navigation, some other things, would have been nice to have for navigating music on a USB drive, if you have a large one with a lot of music on it, which is one of my priorities, which I had on that list that I showed. So yeah, and that also looked very good on display. The problem is, I believe, with most of these units, you run into, obviously, some of these things that are, you know, designed for people that I think are still in high school. They have a lot of lights. They have a lot of flashing things. They're a lot of stuff that I don't care about. A lot of stuff that not only don't care about it, I think they'd look like absolute ass in a car like the W126. But then there's those two units that I just showed, and I think they're nice looking. But the problem is that everything's in gloss black. And while they look fine on display, and maybe that's why they do them in gloss black, I don't know. Maybe somebody knows why they're all gloss black. You know, I've seen pictures of them when they're inside the classic Mercedes, and I'm not going to flash pictures of those because I did look them up to shame anybody that likes those units in their cars, but I kind of hate it. There's nothing gloss black inside the car. I mean, quite frankly, there's hardly anything gloss black inside most cars, so I don't know why they do it. You know, I was about to go so far as to order some of the PPF now, paint protection film that you can get that actually turns gloss paint into a satin finish, which is not something I would do, but figured maybe there'd be some way to take one of these glossy black head units and apply that stuff. But the more I looked at it, the more maddening it looked like it would be to try to do it properly. So, you know, so those were kind of off the list. I just couldn't think of a good way of making those things work and just not making me unhappy every single time I got into the car and looked at them. The one I kept coming back to over and over and over again was this one. The Kienzle? I don't know. I'll show the model number underneath. Well, I can see it right here. It's the CR1225DAB Plus. And the one and only thing, this does not have some features some people might want. It does not have satellite radio, which, as I said, I don't care about. But it does do Bluetooth. It does Bluetooth phone. It does have a front and, very importantly to me, a rear USB port. The nice thing about having a rear USB port for these things to load your music up on is you can get a little extension, you can tuck it away, do nothing fancy, and you can get a gigantic USB drive, format it properly, and store enough music to take 10 trips around the world without ever having to listen to the same song twice. So that's really the only thing that I care about in these. This thing comes with a CD player, which I don't know why. It makes me worried that they're not going to keep producing these things, because it is the one and only unit where I felt like it would actually be a little bit of a visual upgrade to the factory Becker units. This is right here. It's not the one. I have not pulled the other one from my silver car yet. That's just for a parts car. And it's kind of gunky looking, but I just put it there for comparison's sake. But as you see, satin black, satin black. Nice volume knob that feels very quality. A little shake to it, but it feels very, very nice. And the one and only thing that I think is fine to be shiny, which is the clear display. You know, it has everything I need. I just want a player to play high quality music files. So this satisfies all of my needs. I would have not minded a subwoofer output. I don't think I'll be putting a sub in the car. I have a little idea for how I might be able to integrate a sub that would be invisible and provide some reinforcement rather than actual deep bass. But there's other ways to do that. And this is just the only one that I really liked. It has a very nice, I don't know how much it comes across in this. It'll probably be easier to get once I have it installed in the car. But the matte black looks really nice. it is plastic. It might be cheap plastic, but it doesn't look like cheap plastic. So this is really everything I need. It is unfortunate they don't make these easier to get in the US. I know that they have the digital audio format, whatever it is, for radio that isn't available in the US, but there seems to be a big feature advertised on these, but I don't care that it has that. I can't use it, but couldn't use it on anything. So the only thing that had been holding me back from getting this was the fact that I had to order it from Germany, and it was always, the wait times were like 2 to 3 weeks. I think I read on the forums, a couple of people, I mean, really just a few, that would find that have gotten these, said that they arrived in a couple of weeks. You order from eBay. I don't know if my results will be replicated the next time I try this, but when I was searching for information on these, one of the links that came up was in the Amazon.de, the German Amazon site. You have to log into a different, you have to create a separate account from your US account, but it was actually being sold through Amazon, not an outside seller through Amazon Germany, and just figured, ease of returns and all that. I figured I'd give it a shot, and it was great. I ordered the thing this past Monday, and it arrived yesterday afternoon, so 3 days. And the original ship location was Poland, so pretty good. So I think that's it. I just wanted to step through this because, as I said, I don't want to ramble on about it. I'd rather ramble on about it here than when I'm doing the install and I'm trying to focus. Hopefully that'll be tomorrow. And if it is, there will hopefully be a video coming this weekend after I've installed it. Just doing some general impressions, kind of stuff. So anyone that's looking at these, thinking about these, and like me has been frustrated by the lack of knowledge or the lack of information that you can find on them, hopefully this combined with what I post after I get the thing installed will be helpful, because it did take me a long time to decide, because there is so little you can find about these. I've already got the speakers in, and that's all I'm going to be doing stereo-wise. This and the speakers. Speakers made a big difference. I'll talk more about that tomorrow. But that's it. Stay tuned.